last March in 2024. Just a random idea on a Murray's bus. And then next minute we're in 25 countries and we're waving the flag for change. So, oh yeah, you did a slide. Yay, you were fast, Sanal. Thank you. If anyone has a cake, feel free to bring it out.
Go and bake it.
If you could, yeah, if you could just quickly bake something. We'll give everyone a couple more minutes and then we will get started. So welcome everybody. I am Nicole and I'm your moderator for the day, and we are having a Keys to the Doors session, and we are getting creative today with getting creative arts in residential long-term care culture. How do we do it? And I have learned a lot about the creative arts space since I've joined Open the Doors, because as a registered nurse, I must admit I have a narrow lens at times because I'm busy doing lots of other things, but I have loved hearing about all of this. Okay, thank you. All the note takers are saying hello to me and blocking my screen. Thank you, AI. It's really great to have you here. You're all looking fabulous. So what's the value, the struggles, and the victory lap? So this is to extend our Open the Doors session of last month. Aaron, are you recording, by the way? We're good. We're good. Great. Today we will have an introduction from Open the Doors member Sanal, and she'll take you through a welcome and welcome to country. So I will hand over to her.
Thank you, Nicole. Welcome everyone to our Keys to the Door. As Nicole said, we can't remember what number we are at, but we'll go back and see. So what is Open the Doors and Keys to the Doors? Open the Doors is an innovative, exciting, and inclusive movement, merging revolution with resourcefulness, linking bright minds from across the globe who are passionately dedicated to making change in the lives of our elders, older adults, and loved ones. Our main focus is people living with dementia, their loved ones, and supporters. Open the Doors has swiftly materialized into 500 plus visionary change makers wanting to make a difference. Open the Doors welcomes all voices, all change makers, all people from around the world who are committed to effecting positive change. So, what is Keys to the Doors? Keys to the Doors is a monthly online panel discussion with the aim of coming and contributing to thought provoking discussions, innovative thoughts, ideas, lessons learned that are central to making change in the lives of our elders, older adults, and our loved ones, supporting our mission to open the doors by 2030. So today is about sharing insights and experiences of our own or organizational journeys about getting creative arts in residential long-term care culture. How do we do it? The value, the struggles, and the victory lab. Before I go to the housekeeping, I would like to acknowledge the country or the land we are living, and we acknowledge the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people of the lands we are meeting on today. For me, this is the land of Ngunnawal and Ngambri people, the traditional custodians of the land upon which we live and work. We acknowledge and pay our respects to all traditional owners and elders, past and present. We extend the respect to any Aboriginal people and Torres Strait Islander people joining us today. We acknowledge the sovereignty has never been ceded. It always has and always will be Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders' land and waterways. We also acknowledge our friends who are living with dementia and commit to advocating together as we strive to ensure a life that is lived in a human, meaningful, connected, and respectful manner. A little bit of housekeeping for today. Please keep your cameras on and mics muted. Please use the chat for comments and questions for our speaker, which will be read out while we open the floor later. Please do not interrupt speakers. Use the chat. Time will be given for Q&A before the end of the session. Before I hand over to Nicole, there'll be a 15 minutes information session today with the team from Opening Minds Through Art. The link will be in the chat if you'd like to come along. This wrong date and time advertised for OMA information session, which will be after Keys to the Door, 9:15 today. So Monique will put the link in the chat, which there is right now. Before we start with introducing the speakers, I would encourage everyone to keep their cameras open so that Aaron could take a photo. all of us. Thank you.
Over to you, Aaron. Are we doing a photo? Is that possible to record and do a photo at the same time? That's a multitasking skill. Stop it. I'm sorry. And I'll also just say there is a 15-minute break. Have a pause. There'll be an opportunity to sign up to the OMAR session, and then you can jump straight into the OMAR session and find out more about it, which I will be doing. I'll be doing a scramble because I want to find out more, and have our Australian team join as well. So you good to go, Aaron? We can't stay this pretty this early in the morning for a long time, okay? Okay. All right. Done. Okay. Well, thank you, Sanal. Once again, we're going to get creative today in arts, residential, long-term care culture. How do we do it? What are we going to do to get there? And what's the value, the struggles, and the victory lap? We're going to take a deep dive into that very question. And we're going to hear from Meghan from Omar, and we're going to hear from Anne from Timeslips. I had the pleasure of hearing Meghan talk last time, and I was so impressed at what they're doing at Omar. And I first learnt about Timeslips when I was in New Zealand with Alan and Jess, and I was also very intrigued to learn more about that. So I'm very excited to be here today. I will first introduce both of the panelists. We've got Anne Basting. She is a writer, artist, and advocate for the power of creativity to transform all of our lives. She is a professor of English at the University of Wisconsin, a founder of the award-winning and non-profit Timeslips, which inspires and supports the infusion of creativity and meaning-making into our care systems, which we all know we need much more of. Her writing and large-scale public performances have helped shape an international movement to extend creative and meaningful expression from childhood, where it is expected, through to late life, where it has been too long withheld. So, Anne, we're ready to hear from you, and thank you for being here today.
Great. It is a thrill, and also realizing here's some slide. No, now it wants to go back to that other format. Let me just get it so it's the slideshow. There you go. Please, there will be questions because 12 minutes, goodness me, I don't know if I can do it that fast. There's so much to explain. And then I always, I started out by having, just the larger questions of how can we get into residential care, and then realizing, well, you all need to know something about Timeslips. So I'm going to do a tiny bit of both, and then just beg you for questions and follow up, and happy to have a conversation and come back and do something more as well. So I started with these beautiful questions. Why are they not already integrated? That answer comes from different cultural contexts, national contexts will all answer differently. We in the US are just recovering from the news, not even recovering, but responding to the news that our very small National Endowment for the Arts is being cut, as well as all kinds of other aging care and community services. So this question is very loaded for us at the moment. The other question is what any kind of cultural transformation demands, which is a power analysis that we don't often do in healthcare and the arts, but it is very common for social change movements to map the power flow. So that is one thing that we need to do right away. And then to really articulate what is the value we provide and how is it really sustainable. That is the key. At the root, I see the blockages as being something we all know. Pills are primary. That is how the systems work, at least for sure in the US. Tech is considered efficient, and we are moving toward, if you haven't read the book yet, The Last Human Job, I'm obsessed with it, the Alison Pugh book, toward the arguments around AI replacing human care at every turn. So where is our role? Humans are seen as a cost burden that that disrupts efficiency, unscalable, turnover is expensive. People don't want to invest in human solutions to human problems. Treatments are understood as unidirectional rather than relational. And that is the actual power of what we're doing, bringing the arts into long-term care setting and residential care settings, is that we are treating the bidirectional relational issue that is the challenge by improving care. Also, people say the first thing they'll say is, I'm not creative, which I've developed all kinds of ways to respond to that, as I'm sure you have. Stigma breeds isolation, which reduces volunteerism, staff, and family engagement. So, stigma is where bad care thrives in isolation. So, a lot of what we are doing is trying to open up that isolation as well. Here's what I see as my own articulation is of the value. The language has changed and evolved over years. Purpose, meaning, and social connection. That's the best science around what we're doing at the moment. A flow state, creating flow state, which reduces stress and inflammation. Increasing cognitive challenge through an enriched environment. Relational, bidirectional relational benefit. And this is the tricky part. In residential care settings, people aren't just getting health care, they are living out their lives. And so some of our value is that we are attending to life rather than health. And it's so in some ways we are beyond the framework that dominates the logic of those institutions. So that is the conundrum. How do you integrate into a system that you are inherently outside of? And we need to make choices about how we do that. How do we become, and I just had a splinter, so this is why I have this metaphor today. How do we become the splinter that gets absorbed while retaining our uniqueness, right? It's a very bad metaphor, probably. So, to me, the goal is to disappear, to identify, ignite, and nurture innate creative capacity from the people who are already in the care system, to integrate expression and inquiry into the existing structures because they aren't there. Okay, I get to there. To teach people how to identify and collaborate with artists so that they can do it in an ongoing way once we step back. Disperse the technique into volunteers and families and to expand both capacity and expectation. The family and volunteers can be part of the web that holds the meaning making and creates the web of meaning making. Okay, that was a lot of like this stuff up here. Now for Timeslips. So I don't know if everybody knows. I know Lisa knows what Timeslips is, and it sounds, Nicole, like you're aware of it. Over 25 years, we've really polished this very simple improvisational technique that can use any form of communication, from movement and sound to words, whatever people have. And it's got a lot of evidence base around it. It taps into the innate creativity of all human beings, so you can draw it out of people to become facilitators. It benefits bidirectionally the caregiver and the person they're caring for. It's just the people, so that's the cost, I suppose. You don't really need a lot of other stuff. And 25 years of high brand integrity and recognition. So that's what I'm proud of. We're in a moment of change. Oh my goodness. We are creating a brand new module, which is creative communication, deepening connection through beautiful questions, because we found that just the training we did in improvisational storytelling, we needed an intro level that could go out to all of the staff, all of the family members, all of the volunteers, whether or not they were leading the activity or not, because so much of the communication approach can be used in just a hallway transition moment or at meals or just infused into the day-to-day care. So that is what we're developing. And each one of those now will have online modules and a practice session as well. And we're finally, Lisa, oh my God, can you believe it? We've been waiting so long for this. We're developing the certified trainer, train the trainer model, and we're going to pilot it this fall in an in-person training institute in my new home of Atlanta. And we'll also do it virtually. So we're going to have both options. It's exhausting and thrilling, but I'm so excited because this approach really should just be standard of care. It really should be everywhere. Um, this is what else we've learned. This is just a screenshot of the really kind of amazing little short video that was made by AARP. And I can share that with you at another time if you haven't seen it. People really need to feel and see the magic of the arts in order to comprehend what it does, because there's so much sort of mystery and obfuscation around the benefit of it. People need to try it to have confidence to do it. And the pressures of understaffing inhibit creativity in the moment for the staff to actually do it themselves. So in order to do this, we are actually, believe it or not, creating an AI integrated app. I resisted that for a really long time, but now I'm all on board. It's going to offer creative prompts, transcribe sessions, people can contribute their responses to a book. It'll provide real-time coaching for how to use beautiful questions, because that's the trickiest part. It'll assess and measure emotional impact of the session, which I can't believe that it can do that very well right now, but it actually can. So it's shocking. And again, training institute, training partners that can become centers of excellence across the world. So we can finally build on this incredible network of certified facilitators that we have all over, and really grow the training bases now at last. And then they can evolve that technique themselves where it's helpful and useful. And then I have this last slide, which is sort of like my nugget of inspiration for anyone who's doing these larger arts-based, when you do an accumulation of the creative workshops and turn it into something like some of the plays that we've created or large-scale arts projects. The dramaturgy is the existing system, and the form is repetition and revision. So for those playwrights or performance people, you know what I mean. And that is my last little nugget. So there you go. I have no idea how much time that was.
Thank you. I think you are under, if anything. Does
All
anyone have
right,
any?
then I have
Yeah, I think
questions.
any questions? We'd love to hear some questions. Linda, yes, we can get some slides to you if Anne says that is okay. Any questions for Anne while we have her? And then we can come back if we think of any later. I'm really intrigued to see more of the questions. I have copies of some of the questions because I was given them in New Zealand and in Canberra as well. I totally agree that our beautiful teams on the floor and our staff are very, very undertrained to provide this kind of support to our elders, and we need to acknowledge that they are kind of blamed for this broken system. And they don't have time often to figure this stuff out. We run a very person-centered service, and I'm still always mentoring my team how to do the weird dances and ask the questions and run those silly sessions. And having something like this will absolutely support anybody trying to put this into practice. Does anyone have any comments or questions for Anne before I move on to Meghan?
I could also just add, I can add
Yes.
briefly that one of the ways that we find is that, or that we describe it, is that people somewhere along the line have been told they're not creative, or that they don't have that capacity. And so we try to explain that the there is a lot of work and labor involved in separating what brings you joy in your own personal life and your own creative expression from the work of care. And we've been taught to separate those two things. And it actually takes work, and it deadens part of the job if you make people separate the joyfulness in their own life from the work that they're doing. And so when you unseparate that and you allow people to express and to invite other people into meaning making and joyful moments inside the work that they're doing, it becomes whole again, right? It allows you to bring your whole self to the care, and that's felt across the care relationship. So a lot of it is re-knitting those things back together. That's, I think, part of the work that we're doing.
Fantastic. I love that, bringing the whole self to your workplace, or making your workplace not even feel like a workplace, sharing of self, becoming like family. I love that. Thank you so much, Megan. We've got time for more questions at the end. Thank you, Anne. Megan, it's so nice to see you here again. Meghan Young is the Associate Director of OMA. And her career in Aging in the Arts began in service learning class during her first year at Miami University, when she facilitated storytelling experiences for residents living with dementia in nursing homes. Since then, Megan has worked on research projects dedicated to making communities and age and dementia friendly. We have a very same timeline, you and I, Megan, by the way. You instructed intergenerational service learning courses for 4 years and assisted long-term care providers with implementing art-based activities for residents. Megan believes that everyone, regardless of their age or ability, can share their life stories through art. So over to you, Megan.
Thank you, Nicole. I have to say what a joy and a gift it is to be able to share this stage with Anne, because that storytelling program I did was Timeslips. So it's just a pleasure to be able to do this. So yes, full circle for me. But thank you everybody for having me back. And I think I have a few slides just in case you weren't here, but let me pull that up. And I know Google Meet is always a little bit different. Okay. Let's see. If I can't get it, I'll just start by telling you that Opening Minds Through Art, or OMA. Let me see if I can do this. I should have.
Did you want to send it to Sanal and get Aaron to sing a weird song while we're waiting? Because I'm sure he wouldn't mind.
That's okay. Did it come through?
Laurie's not here. That's all. No, not yet. But we're
not
patient.
Yet? Okay.
Oh, there it is.
We're coming. There you go. We're up.
Okay. Perfect. Hold on one second. Okay. So just a little bit of background about OMA. So we're at a university, and we're established in the Scripps Gerontology Center, but underneath our kind of organization there, we've got 4 programs that we do. I'm going to focus on this OMA program, but we have a virtual program, which I think really connects well to people who may want to connect with loved ones who are maybe living in a group setting of some sort and want to connect in. So happy to talk more about that. We have a threshold choir that sings to people on hospice care, and then our creative caregiving guide, which features Anne and some other great artists, and they talk about their resources. It's a free resource for people who are caring for people living with dementia. So if you're interested, it's on our website. But as far as OMA goes, it's what we do is building bridges across age and cognitive barriers through art. So I think Anne provided a really great kind of overview of why it's necessary, why it's important. And we like to connect people intergenerationally. So a lot of our younger adults are college students, high school students, and they work with people living with dementia in different places. So some are maybe day centers, some are in nursing homes and other places. It was developed in 2007. And we use abstract art because we know abstract art is accessible. Just like storytelling, there's not a right or a wrong way to do it. And abstract art gives us kind of a task to focus on together and to work through that. So it's all based on strength-based psychology. And what they do is not dependent on memory. So it helps people transcend that, and that feeling of I'm not creative. The student or the younger adult gets to say, well, let's learn this together. Let's try this together. So it's an opportunity to kind of break outside of that fear of creativity. This is a new slide from the last time I was here. I wanted to share this because I think sometimes part of the root of what we do, and when we try to make things simple, sometimes it makes it more complex. So an easy example of this is jack-o'-lanterns. I don't know if you do this in Australia, but for Halloween here in the US, we carve jack-o'-lanterns and we make pumpkins. But this was an example that our founder had seen at a nursing home where residents had created these art pieces featuring jack-o'-lanterns. And while it seems simple to do, if you really think about it, it's pretty complex to either sometimes you have to remember where eyes belong on a jack-o'-lantern or what it looks like. And if you're frustrated, you don't remember maybe, and you get frustrated. That could be that step away from that feeling of, well, I can't do this. Like, why would I do anything creative? So what we try to do here is separate the product from the process. So we want really complex looking products that are very easy to do. And that's what OMA does. We take it in a step-by-step approach so that you end up with beautiful artwork like down here on the bottom corner. And here's just some more examples. I'll flip through them pretty quickly. But I think just responding to some of what Anne talked about with bringing people together, having training and making sure that people are aware of how to do this. How do we engage people's kind of and stimulate thinking and exploring? And a big thing we do in OMA is play. So how do you play with materials? How do you just have fun and create? And this is all new to me when I started. So just being able to try this and do this every week is something that's really exciting. So a little bit about our research, and again, that bi-directional, what are people getting from it? Both the older adults and the younger adults who participate have shown improvement in mood and well-being for the older adults, and then for students and younger adults, it's attitudes toward people living with dementia. So that's an important part too. I think, Anne, you had mentioned this not knowing how maybe to respond to people living with dementia, or not, I forget the word you used, but when we expose younger adults to older adults living with dementia specifically, we have that opportunity to show them that they can provide better care, they can provide choice, they can provide opportunities for expression, maybe not creatively, maybe not through visual art, but through other ways that they interact with them. And so I think that's a really important point about what we do, especially in creative aging programs, is try to get people to think differently. And these interactions, one-to-one or in a small group setting, really help with that. So just some quotes, and then just to kind of close out, I know it was mentioned we're having a quick OMA info session. So if you're interested in joining our training course, we'll have a call right after this and go over some more information. So that's all I have. But thank you again for having me, and I'm happy to answer more questions, or if there was any other thoughts that you'd like to know about, I'm happy to respond.
Thank you so much, Meghan. Once again, you two are so on time. We are doing really, really well. We're only 30 minutes in. So if you have questions, please ask them now for Meghan or Anne. I'm just checking the chat as well. So
I just want to add, let me add real quick that my mom is in memory care, and that she doesn't do any activities except OMA. And OMA is the one that she really responds to. And I describe her as being a little deeper in the well every day. But when she does OMA with my dad, it's just the smiles. It's amazing. So, and that there is a new study that came out of China of an integrated visual art and time-slip storytelling done with the caregivers and the people with dementia, and that it was found to reduce stress among the caregivers and the sense of caregiver burden, and improve the quality of life for both caregivers bi-directionally. So sorry, Lisa.
No, that's fine. Yeah, that's great to hear, because you know, a lot of the work I do is often, when I was working in the aged care sector, was to invite the staff to sit with the person they're caring for and then engage in the arts to change the dynamics of the relationship. Really important. Really interested in how you're breaking work down into abstract for people living with dementia to then to create. I mean, I've worked in that space as well, but Anne knows probably a lot of my work in some ways, but have you ever looked at utilising the museums? Because I've done a lot of work with our local museum as well, and also done a lot of work just recently, a project with circus. So Intergeneration Closing the Gap project with older adults, women from a respite daycare, but also a number of them were living with dementia and you successfully living in community, and you would never pick up on that in the group, and the kids never picked up on it. But I did say the transition of that relationship over the weeks that they're together. So I imagine you'd see that quite often yourself in your work, Megan. I know Anne does because I've followed Anne for years because I trained in 2013 with Timeslips. So and art appreciation of Adrian Bogue and National Gallery. So I've been segueing across all those areas. Yeah.
That's great. I just to respond to your question about museums and working with museums. We do have, I didn't mention this here, but we do have an art show that we put together at the end of every session. And so we try to highlight work. Usually it's locally, it's not in a museum, but I know here in Oxford at the university, we have an art museum. So I'm wondering, there might be more opportunity for that kind of outreach. But we actually just started a couple of years ago our world art show. So we have a virtual art show that we collect artwork, and we've received over 400 pieces of artwork both years. And we feature art from around the world. So it's a pretty cool opportunity. We've got about 1,000 people trained all over the world to do the program. And so it's really exciting to be able to showcase it that way. But I think pulling it together and having an exhibit somewhere kind of gives it another layer to it for sure.
I must explain the difference here. I think the only country in the world that does this, but we have, you guys call museums, your art gallery museums. Here we have art galleries and then we have museums. So our museums hold our historical objects and artefacts, and then our art galleries hold our visual arts, historical.
I think it's probably similar here. I just don't know the link, but I think we call them art museums as well. So we have, I guess, both.
Okay. Yeah.
Amazing. Any more questions for Anne or Megan? We're still way under time.
Bobby has her hand up, Nicole.
Oh, Bobby, you're right.
Bobby has her hand up. Sorry.
Thank you. Sorry about that. I'll take it down, otherwise it'll get confusing. My question's really to Anne. I love the idea of beautiful questions, and I see, it's a great way of finding out about people and helping them to speak. How do you mind sharing? I'm wondering, I'm trying to think what I'm trying to say now. With dementia, sometimes when people ask us a question, it's difficult for us to respond. People living with dementia, when I say we, it's almost as if trying to take in what you're asking us makes us really anxious, which is why I'm stumbling now, in what you want to actually, what you're looking for and how you want me to respond. And I'm wondering how you overcome that in the type of questions that you're asking.
It's a great question. And all the questions that we develop are developed in collaboration with people with dementia. So we test them out. A lot of times people assume questions, or people think that they'll ask a beautiful question, but it also we coach people specifically to not use multiple cognitive steps in a question. So if I ask you what's the proudest moment of your life, I'm actually asking you to think of every single moment of your life in which you felt pride, which you have to, and then compare them all, and then measure the difference between them and pick one. And that's not possible for a lot of people. And so instead, I would reframe the question to say, tell me something you're proud of. And that opens up. There is no most or wrong answer. And so it's a lot of fine tuning. That's why the real time coaching, if we can make that happen with an app, will really help, because that's the hardest thing, is figuring out how to phrase questions so that they're actually opening people rather than confusing or pushing them back or away. And some of it is individual dependent, of course. So it would also, it also depends on the person. But usually questions that are single cognitive step, that draw on an emotion, which are accessible, draw on the senses as well. Those tend to be the magic combinations, and in the questions that we've kind of honed over the years as well. I'm hoping that helps a little bit. And also, it's not just the question; it is the art of the commitment to listening, because even with a question that is fully accessible, the time it takes to process exactly what you're describing can take quite a while. And so to slow the both slow the process down and then just project to the person that you are there for that time period for them to process, and that you're there to receive, you're eager and excited to receive and patient to receive. And I would say the third magic component is to reaffirm, because sometimes as silence grows, the person isn't just trying to process, they're feeling the awkwardness of the silence and feeling a growing sense of shame of not being able to do it. And so when you feel that, you can say to the person, I've got all the time in the world. I am just here for you. Or you could say anything and I'm going to write it down, just to reaffirm that you are there for listening and receiving. So it's actually a 3-part communication process of the beautiful question, the yes and the proof of listening, which is the root of the Timeslips approach.
Thank you very much. That helps a lot and makes a lot of sense. And just being listened to is a remarkable feeling, because very often for all of us, we're all in such a hurry that nobody ever really feels that anybody's listening to them. We're just talking at each other. So that's lovely. Thank you.
Pam?
Hello. I haven't been exposed to either of these programs previously, so I'm just clarifying my understanding of how I've perceived it from the presentations. So I'm sort of interpreting OMA as a program for teaching people how to facilitate activities, and Timeslips as a program for teaching skills specific to communicating effectively with people living with dementia, and also giving people skills to sort of communicate and advocate within the industry about the benefits of creativity. Is that correct? Is that what Timeslips is? It's sort of like about, and forgive my ignorance and if I missed a whole thing that everybody else got, but is that what Timeslips is? It's mainly about the communication component as opposed to actual activities.
It's a perfect thing, because I tend to be way up here in the scholarly clouds, and it's hard for me to drop, and say, this is what we do. So thank you for nailing my feet to the floor. It is both. which is we've for a long time had the creative storytelling training, which is an evidence-based activity to facilitate improvisational storytelling, and that's what Meghan was saying she did as the campus program, and that's really strong evidence-based improvisational communication technique inside of an activity that you can do as a one-off activity, or you can accumulate them by theme and topic into, in the way that Meghan would do an art exhibit. You can do that with this approach as well. I've done plays, I've done large scale, crazy, wonderful projects, accumulating those creative workshops. We've also, as I said at the beginning, noticed that there's a whole tier of people who aren't going to be leading activities who can benefit from a creative communication or improvisational communication approach. And that is the training we've just completed. So we have both modules now and both have practice sessions. So the answer is yes, and.
Thank you.
I think for the OMA side, it's we do lots of programming, so we do offer that, but we also have the training opportunity too. So the info session later is about the facilitator training. So it's about a 20-hour course where anybody, if you're a professional working in aging, or if you're an artist, or you're an independent kind of care partner and you want to be able to do OMA, that training can be for you. So we have a little bit of both as well. We train our volunteers, but we have a lot more in the works, and we're hoping to expand a lot more, touch people at home a little bit more, build a little bit more robust membership model to connect people over the world to share their creative ideas. So hopefully there's more to come on that, but that's a little bit, if that helps with that OMA piece.
Thanks, Meghan. Any other questions or comments? We still have about 5 minutes, even 10 actually. Aaron.
I mean, literally, it's happening, as we speak. And we have on the Timeslips website we've been virtual since 2011, and we created in the website is a creativity center where people can find visual image prompts for storytelling and beautiful questions. And you could go and do a session and then come back and write in your story and share it with people across the world. And there was all kinds of fun things in there. But that's not how people don't bring their laptop or their computer with them. And so it's always been, should we make an app? And then I'm like, everybody has an app. I don't want an app. I don't want to do an app. Now I'm like, okay, this is truly a really valuable assistant, especially for people at home and in home care. We're collaborating with a large home care company to bring these tools to them, one-on-one in the home. So you'll be able to see a prompt. The other thing is there's a lot of embarrassment from people across cultures, across literacy levels about writing down the story. And we've always had that barrier. And now AI is good enough. I see all you AI note takers. You can all the AI note takers can blush now because I'm complimenting you at your skill, your increase in skill in the last year, even, right? And so that will eliminate a barrier that a lot of people felt about transcribing and uploading because of various levels of education and language barriers. And also then there is call centers use live coaching on how to reframe questions and conversations right now at a pretty high level, which I just became aware of. And if we coach the AI to coach people live around how I might reword that question, we do that. We've been doing that for a long time, almost always using the same coaching. And so I'm like, actually, I think AI could probably do it pretty easily. And we can't be live coaching people all over that, but AI could. And just for reframing those questions, or, oops, you corrected someone here. You said yes, but 5 times. Try saying yes and next time, right? So because people don't even realize they do it. It's such a hiccup to correct someone because you're trying to clean them up to make them whole again. And that's a good noble impulse, but it actually shuts down conversation, right? So that's, I think, what we're hoping to get to with the app.
For Nicole and Monique, having had a recent experience with my note, yes, the AI attending these meetings, yes, it's always been a thing. I actually put a virus through my whole organization with an AI note taker, and it recorded everything I was saying and sent it to everyone. And I don't love AI all the time, but I have no, I didn't say anything bad. But I have a love-hate relationship with AI. But AI is now also supporting people from called backgrounds to do notes, progress notes. What an incredible thing for someone from another culture who is probably has up to 4 languages and is a very clever individual, may struggle writing their progress notes in aged care. For them to be able to dictate now and it sends it straight into the notes is such an empowering tool for those people. So yeah, if it's used correctly, what a wonderful thing to be able to offer. Dimitri told me all about that. I was quite blown away. So I'm sure that Anne's using it in a similar way to seek guidance to something that it can work out very quickly without needing human input 24/7. Any other question? That was a great question, by the way, Aaron. Well done. Any other questions? We still have a couple of minutes before we wrap up. I'll just hold the floor for a moment. Can we access the session? Yes, it's going on YouTube, Linda. We've sorted our stuff out. We've got a new. Did you buy the full version, Aaron? Did you get your wallet out? I'm proud of you. We are a free organisation, by the way, so we do scrimp and save. We are recording all of these, and they go straight to YouTube. I'm hoping in my wildest dreams that these are used for educational purposes beyond this meeting. I do have some feedback that people are watching them and showing them in aged care, and they do have significant impact to the cause. So you can grab it there, and it will also be sent to you in a MailChimp newsletter in a couple of weeks. I think we do one a month, Monique, one a month. Yeah. Thank you for the opportunity. You're welcome. Any other questions? Otherwise, I'll pass to Josephine. I just want to say again for all of the, if anyone was a late comer, it's our birthday. We're 1. Open the Doors turned 1 yesterday. I can't believe it. 10 founders with that we've built ourselves together on bobby pins and cotton wool. There's no funding for us. We decided that we wanted to do this. It's been, in my mind, a huge success to be in 25 countries and growing to nearly 1,000 members in less than a year, or just a year now. And I'm incredibly proud of the work we've been able to do, and all of the speakers and all of the people attending. Thank you so much for being part of Open the Doors. And we're learning and growing as we deliver this amazing service to you. And Monique, thank you. You're very integral to this happening as well. Monique does all of the hard work behind the scenes. I'm the talker and she's the doer. So thank you to Monique and everyone else that's involved, Sanal and Aaron and Josephine and all of the other founders. Thank you, Anne, for coming. Anne is signing off. I will hand over to Josephine to take us through what is next. So Josephine, are you out there? I see a J somewhere.
I am here. Can everyone hear me? Thanks, everyone, for coming. It's been a blast. I loved hearing the stories that I did hear about how through engagement we're deepening and defining relationship. And I'm so reminded of just that emotional connection that's present. when we just care to spend time. Really, it's just spending time, letting go of all our context of how we're supposed to do relationship, and just take that away and just be human together. It's awesome. And seeing people that might have difficulties experiencing some success, because I think that's the key, is just feeling successful. We all want to feel successful, no matter our physical or our cognitive differences. So yes, newsletter will follow. Just a few things to wrap us up. We have our next Open the Doors global session on May the 13th at 6:30 a.m. AEST time. So if anyone's in the Americas, that means it's not Tuesday the 13th, it's Monday the 12th. Living well with dementia. What helps you to live well with dementia? So we'll be discussing that with Bobby Redmond and Gwenda Darling. If you know somebody living with dementia who would like to speak to this topic, please let one of the co-founders know. Or let Nicole know primarily, but any one of us will get the information to Nicole. And then, of course, after the session, if you can hang on tight, we will be joining Meghan from OMA with a little bit of an announcement around what the team training and instructor training and certification looks like. So we'll put the link in the chat for that. And if you can join us, that would be amazing. Thank you so much. Have a good day or an evening, wherever you are located in this world today. We'll see you again soon.
Thank you, Josephine. Thank you, everybody, for attending. And yes, Meghan, do we need to race over and join the Zoom? I've already registered. It does say it's at 8:30 a.m., so I feel like I'm already late to my own party.
9:50.
Oh God. Okay, thank you. I've already just begged Dr. Romney to give me some money to train somebody while we're sitting here. I'm multitasking. Sorry, I'm listening and asking for money at the same time. So as long as it's for a good cause. I wasn't quite focused there for a second, but OMA is an incredible program. I'm very excited to bring it to Community Home Australia, and I encourage all of you to jump on that link and attend, and Timeslips as well. I'm going to integrate that too. So thank you all for coming. Another exciting day. And just to confirm, the next session is at 6:30 a.m. Australian Eastern Time.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh.
The early one. We've got people in Europe who having been missing out of late. So this way, we've got people in Europe that
I've never seen Gwenda out of bed that early. I just was like, oh, I'm going to have to stay the night at her house and throw a cup of water on her, I think. I've never seen Gwenda up. Bobby, you must be an early riser too.
I know Gwenda's not, but I'm no better, really.
I'm coming to your place too. We're sending one of us each to your houses and giving you
a wake up call. Might need it.
A wake up call. I'll bring my rooster. Amazing. Have a great day, everyone. We'll see you at OMA if you're attending. Oh, Josephine?
Yeah, Monique, is the link for this OMA chat in the chat?
Yes. It's in a couple of times.
Someone's asking for us to
yeah, it's there. I'll just plonk it in again right now.
Okay.
I did it. Gotta go back and find it. Timeslips.
It's just I just put it in a second ago, so it's
right. Did you?
Okay.
It's right there. Yep, above Eleanor's comment. But I can plonk it again.
Hopefully that's the link you're looking for, Elena.
There you go. Plonked again.
Same one.
Yeah.
How long is that going to go for? Because I got to
half an hour, Meghan. Is she still here? If not, about half an hour.
Okay.
Might even be 20 minutes, but yeah, it wouldn't be any longer than half an hour.
So in 20 minutes.
So in 15. So you got 20 minutes. You're right. It's 8:55. So time to go grab a cuppa. Bye, Bobby.
Bye, everyone. Have a great day. Thanks for joining.
Bye.
What time, Monique? What time is it starting?